I think it helps so much. And
Yeah.
a lot of them are like, even if you do go to the office, sometimes they'll let you sit in your car now, which has
Right.
been nice.
Hey, Brooke, we are going to shift gears. We're going
Okay.
to actually go live.
Okay.
So, to our audience out there, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to today's Talking Tech. I'm Army Veteran Dan Hunter, a communication specialist in the Office of Information and Technology, and your host of the series, Talking Tech. So, wherever you are, take a seat, prop up your feet, enjoy today's discussion, and send out a tweet. Like, share, and comment throughout the show. We have an interview to do, so let's go. Follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn. I'm going to say it again. Follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn. This series gives VA technology experts an opportunity to share what they're doing to serve our nation's veterans. They'll discuss best practices, strategies, and techniques designed to enhance the veteran experience. Here, VA uses ones and zeros to help our nation's heroes. And today we have one of those experts with us who helps us convert those ones and zeros to help our nation's heroes. And that is Brooke Jordan from the VA Agile Center of Excellence. Brooke, can you give us some background about yourself? And then what brings you here to serve our veterans?
Hi, Dan. Well, thank you, first of all, for letting me come on to Talking Tech. I love this show and I'm excited to be here. So, my name is Brooke Jordan. I am the Chief of Staff with the Agile Center of Excellence. I work at the VA, and that's an easy question. My why for the VA is being able to serve veterans, their families, their caregivers after giving so much of a sacrifice to our country. So that's my easy easy answer for that. How I got to technology, I sort of meandered my way here. Um, I came to Washington, D.C. with the idea of working at a consulate. And then one day I woke up and I was not working in a consulate, but I was a government contractor. So I think I messed up the translation. and, um, so I started as doing risk assessments for the Department of Navy, and when an opportunity for doing moving into IT and working on a software solution, I jumped at it, and through some great leadership, taking some chances, awesome mentors, learning, self learning, and sitting in certs, I made my way to becoming an agile coach, which helped me get into the VA and find the Agile Center of Excellence.
Wow. Wow. You mentioned the term agile a few times. What, and for those non techies in our audience and those who don't really understand the ones and zeros, can you talk to us and tell us about Agile, what it is, and then how it works with, uh, or how you use that to
Yeah,
help the department?
I love to. Yeah. So and if anyone that works with me, they will tell you I am an agile enthusiast. So agile, and I'll use it in a little a. You'll hear big A and little a agile. Agile is really just a mindset that you use to apply adaptability, customer focus, anything that can help you deliver outcomes. And they don't even have to be IT outcomes. You can be agile in any area of the organization. So helping people work more effectively, work in a happy, safer environment to deliver outcomes. So as an agile coach, before I moved into this chief of staff role, I would work with teams. It could be a scrum team. So you're talking 6 to 10 people, and maybe helping them set up mechanisms where they communicate a little bit more effectively or work a little bit closer with their customer. Or it could be executive leadership that we help with agility. And this is really just helping them change the way they look at challenges, and when they get requirements, they're no longer looking for um, how to do things. Like someone will give them a problem, and agility gives them the opportunity to take time to explore, to experiment, and to test those experiments, to make bets and then test their bets and see if they're doing the right thing. And that's really important for the people that we have on our teams, because are on the teams because they're creative, they are experts in their domain, and we don't want to tell them how to do things. We want to tell them what we need in the outcomes and help them have an environment where they can deliver those in the way that they think is important.
Wow. So this isn't just there's a problem. We're going to put a band-aid on it. We're going to fix the problem. We're going to use the tools. We're going to use the expertise from members of our team and come up with an approach to diagnose and fix that problem. Is that
Exactly. Look at
how
it
does
as a
that?
system. We're all like, we can pull from where we need to. When we don't have a SME for a specific area, we know exactly who to identify for it. And we're all just looking for the same outcome and rallied around that.
Can you talk to us about some of the projects that you have worked, some successes that you have using that approach to address some of those issues, problems, challenges?
Yeah, for sure. So I only have 30 minutes, but I will I'll try to choose maybe two. And I'm going to look at them in a lens of two of our main capabilities. So an Agile Center of Excellence is traditionally you are a team of experts that is in an organization to help it in its agile transformation. So that's A, big T. So I'll look at coaching and training. So our coaching and training program is absolutely amazing. We have some of the most brilliant coaches in the industry. And what that process looks like is teams will come to us. So it's not my boss says that we're not doing this right or we're not agile, so we have to go get a coach. These teams are coming to us to ask for help because you are never done at being the best at getting better, right? They're identifying that they can get better. They can optimize the way they're delivering to their customer. And they'll come to us. We'll watch how they work. We're very good at observing the team instead of going in and doing like a overhaul or a one stop or a one man approach. We'll see how they work. We'll see where they can improve. We develop targeted training for them and we walk through that process, and they'll come out of these engagements. Usually we're looking at about 3 months, and they come out with these aha moments and they're working more effectively. Their flow is much better than it was when they were coming in. And just the team dynamics, like the people you work with, forming those relationships and that rapport and being happy when you show up to work makes such a difference in the work that you're turning out. Like happy people make more beautiful products. So that's coaching, a coaching engagement. Another thing that we are really focusing on is changing the way that we're doing training. So we're trying to cater to learners of all different styles. So if you like to go into a live training and listen and maybe have a Q&A session, we've got that for you. If you want more of an async, maybe early in the morning, that's your time where your brain is in that flow state and you're gathering, we have that for you too. And another really cool thing that we have is social learning. So social learning has been an awesome opportunity for people to come with their perspectives and where they're coming from and showing up and their personal problems and sharing them with other teams. And this is sort of shifting us from those lessons learned into making those lessons learned best practices and standard practices. So we're all not bumping into the same wall independently in silos and all suffering the same thing. We're sharing how we got over it and moving ahead together. So those social community type of events are amazing, and they help us with that muscle. So community is a muscle, just like any other muscle. You have to work on it to get it stronger. So community, your focus, your consistency, all working them as a muscle to get better. And then on our transparency side of ACOEs, this is going a little beyond where a traditional center of excellence is going to sit. We have recently, in the last year, been working on dashboarding and reporting capabilities for OIT, and empowering product lines and product teams to use data to make more data-driven decisions. So we're trying to get all of us, we're all in a habit of making PowerPoints, pulling data into an Excel, making a pivot chart, putting it in PowerPoint. And that takes time. And the minute you make it, it's dead, right? The information is stale. So we're really trying to train people on what the data is telling them, telling stories with data, figuring out what it means to them, and using those in their agile events that they're already having. So having a dashboard up when you're in your daily stand up, or having your backlog up with your information radiator, using those to make your direction decisions is really changing how we're moving in OIT.
With that said, because there's a lot of moving parts, and we have a big organization, big VA, how have you been able to work with and provide input to the other parts, the benefits part of VA, or the
Mhm.
health side, or even the cemeteries administration?
Yeah.
How have you been able to work with those organizations using and applying the agile approach?
Okay. So the cool thing about IT at VA is that we service VHA, VBA, in addition to servicing the veteran. So when a veteran goes in to va.gov, those IT products, of course, delivered by IT, but we partner with VBA, VHA to make sure that those products are in line with what the veteran needs, but also with a clinician. Like if you're in a clinic and you need to track a patient's records, those systems that they use are delivered by IT as well. So we're making sure we're in lockstep with our customer. We're using customer feedback loops to make sure the systems, the applications that we're delivering, are delivering the needs to make their jobs easier. We are gathering feedback, whether it's net promoter scores, sending out surveys, and something as simple as a sprint review, having conversations with the customer to be able to give them what they actually need.
And with you discussing the process, it sounds clean, but we know that there are challenges.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about some of those challenges that you have, and how you're able to overcome, or what you're doing to help overcome those challenges?
Yeah, so there it is complex, and I did make it sound very simple. Thank you, Jen. So there are some barriers sometimes with talking to the customer themselves. I know that when I'm on a website and a pop-up comes up when I'm trying to leave the site, and it's like, please give us your feedback. I X out of it. Please don't do that if you're on a VA site. So it's, first of all, getting people to give the feedback, and encouraging them, take that extra minute, because it's going to help the system give you more of what you need. There are sometimes barriers with doing general surveys with, if our IT users themselves are using a system, sometimes you can't do those general surveys without permission, with unions. So there's a lot of navigation to go through, and also time. Like, you're not always going to have your stakeholders, as unfortunate as it is, come to your sprint review to look at the new functionality that you're delivering. So it's accessibility, it's time, it's respect on both ends of what we need, and expectation management.
With that, how can others help? Say, how can industry help? And what feedback do you get from veterans? So there's kind of two sides. How can industry help? And what feedback are you getting from veterans to help what drive better outcomes?
Yeah. With our industry partners, so a lot of our experts at VA, are, especially for the Agile Center of Excellence, a lot of our coaches are industry partners. We have a full contract with coaches, DevSecOps coaches, SAFE coaches. And I think those partnerships and using that knowledge work has been priceless for ACOE to be able to deliver the best and the brightest to our federal employees and our full teams. So sort of injecting in that information, that knowledge. So we'll use a lot of organizations like that in that capacity. So that close partnership is essential in upskilling our federal staff and making our teams the best that they can be. They also help us with gathering the feedback that we need with our customers and with the end user.
Yeah. And with Agile, what I have heard in the past and what I understand, maybe way wrong, but it's a lot of it's about change and changing the organization, changing the culture, changing the way things get done. Can you talk to us a little bit how you can sustain and keep that momentum going with those changes that you were helping an organization make?
Yeah. So that one, I would say we approach it in you approach agility in an agile fashion. So you're
Okay.
knowing that it's not going to be a big bang. If anyone comes in and tells you, tomorrow we're going to be agile and that's it, no questions asked, you should be concerned. So you want those little baby steps towards agility, and those tiny movements are going to compound into a larger transformation. Teams are going to be working differently. They're going to be communicating differently. They're all going to be synchronized and changing the way that they look at problems. So instead of waiting for someone to task them with work or pushing requirements to them, they're looking at pulling work, solutioning, experimenting, failing forward, learning from mistakes we're making to deliver solutions that have never been touched before or never dreamt of before. So giving them time to dream and to experiment and to explore, and using those things to deliver better services, better applications, better systems to our caregivers, our veterans, the survivors, whoever is using the system.
Well, you're an agile coach, and as an agile coach, how or what challenges have you had in providing feedback to an organization, and uh, how do you nudge them to help them improve? Or is it something that that organization sees, the light comes on and they realize, hey, we need to make a change?
Yeah. So I think with any change, you're going to have your early adapters, your innovators, and then you have people that have sort of change fatigue, and they're like, I've seen this happen before. I'm just going to wait and see how it shakes out. I don't want to change the way I'm doing the things that I'm doing, because who knows what's going to happen in the next 2 to 3 years, right? But Agile in its foundation is essential, I think, in IT service delivery and beyond IT service delivery. It's helping people change the way they work. So it's really showcasing or bringing people to the table to help them understand what the benefit is for them and the outcome, that why you have to answer. I love like Simon Sinek's book about why, like give them that answer and they'll understand why they're going. Like when they sign into their machine every day, they have that why. They understand why we're pushing change and where we're guiding change, and helping them see themselves in the future, I think is really how to get the people that are maybe not as excited about those changes to where everyone else is pushing forward.
I'm going to do is I'm going to shift gears a little bit, talk about how you and what major projects you have worked with the other offices. You talked about what's in IT working directly with VBA, the benefits administration, the health administration, the cemeteries, but also we have our Veterans Experience Office. Do you have any interaction with those, and you have some things that you can talk about in terms of what you have accomplished, what you have done with them, or what you're actively working with them to help ultimately the veteran and
Mhm.
the veterans experience working with VA?
Yeah. So, one good example I would say of sort of working as an ambassador with those organizations is our matrix resources effort. Traditionally, you have your product delivery teams in OIT. We're doing product line management, where we have our product lines grouped within portfolios. And those teams are amazing at what they do and they deliver outcomes. But there are things that, you know, aren't aren't their expertise, and that's okay. Like, we want them to be an expert in what they're good at. We want them to have opportunities to become experts in other areas, and that's why we started this matrix model, where we have identified SME, so subject matter experts in other areas of the organization. So strategic sourcing, strategic communication. So this avenue right here, strategic communications, can help product teams share the amazing things they're doing with a greater audience. So matrixing that expertise into the teams to be able to help them do what they're doing more effectively and saving them time has been a really cool effort to see. Um, and in that, they've also had an opportunity to sort of couple with that person and learn a skill set that they would have never been able to experience in their normal day to day operation. So it's invigorating for them. It's also helping the team. And that has been really, really cool to see in IT and working across all of our pillars and different divisions.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Brooke. And you've come a long way. And so, what I want to shift, we talked about how to help the organization, and you have a very unique background. Work, and now you're working in Agile.
Mhm.
Can you tell us what an IT professional, what skills an IT professional can have, particularly those you might have just thinking through a scenario of a veteran leaving service, and what
Mhm.
skills they have, or and what they can share. They might not be an engineer, they might not be a system engineer, they might not be a software uh, application person. So how could the next generation of IT professionals grow, and what skills do they need? What should they be thinking about right
Yeah,
now?
I love this question. So IT, I feel like some people think, oh, I don't understand math science. I'll never belong in IT. But anyone with their skill set, what they bring to the table, could be useful in IT. Whether like we have IT strategic communications, like with you, Mr. Hunter, of helping us sort of translate what we're doing to a greater audience. There are countless resources now, most free of charge, to sort of break into IT. Whether it's coding, whether it's data analysis, there are boot camps that I try to share on my LinkedIn profile. If anyone can wants to see there, I'll always try to share them. But know that there is something that you are skilled at that could be applicable and transferable to IT. We need different skill sets, people with creative minds, left or right brain. It doesn't matter. Anyone can do this. You just need passion. You need discipline, and the tools and the resources are out there. Like I said, a lot of them are free. It's just finding what you want to do, committing to it, and having that grit to be able to continue doing it day and day.
No, I appreciate that. Appreciate that response. I know in the IT community, We have a lot of very smart folks, a lot of folks who are engineers. They get down into the ones and zeros, but at the same time, there's also some soft skills needed. How the communicators, how to communicate, how to talk the same language as the business or those folks who are more operationally the health, in our case the health folks, the benefits folks, and or the folks working in the with the cemeteries administration. So there we do need all those skill sets to be part of the IT family, the IT community. Uh, so we talked about where you started. We talked about Agile. We talked about the Center of Excellence. We talked a little bit about what you're doing in the process. And then we talked about the skills that the future IT professional can have. Now, Brooke, I'm gonna have you look into the crystal ball, look into the future, and tell us what you think Agile looks like in the future, and or how IT looks in the future. And this is the world according to Brooke.
Well, that's concerning. So I think agility will always be, whatever they want to call it. We've seen DevOps being called different things, but I think agility in its essence and its core will sort of remain fundamental. You look at those values of collaboration, the human connection, and I think that's really what's important in IT. And that's what sets us apart from anything that you talk about, um, AI, RPA, like those, what can be done by a computer can be done by a computer. But I think Agile really stresses the human connection, the human creativity of the brain, and what those powerful connections can change. So I think Agile in itself, those fundamentals will stay core to, whatever IT looks like in tomorrow, which is changing every single day. Um, and I am hopeful for VA IT, that it will continue its upward path to, pleasing and delighting our veteran end users, the caregivers, making it easier for them to get the benefits that they've earned. I am really excited to see how we are changing that landscape, building relationships with the veterans to get their feedback. Over 50% of our workforce in IT are veterans. So we can turn our shoulder virtually and just ask them, like, does this make sense? Does this work for you? Like, where are we missing the mark? And I think that if we continue to do this, continue to understand that we can get better at being better and being a continuous improver, and having grit and a relentless focus on delivering outcomes. I think those are all necessary in wherever we're going and whatever we're going to call Agile in the next however many years.
Well, I have to shift gears. We're going to get ready to close down. I saw a note saying Agile 2, Agile
Yeah.
2. But what I want to ask, is there anything that I missed that in our discussion? Is there anything that you want to share that I didn't cover?
So I think we covered a lot today, and I don't want to overwhelm anyone. I would say that everything I shared today in an Agile Center of Excellence at the VA, you can apply these in any organization. I encourage anyone, you don't have to be an Agile coach, you don't have to be a Scrum Master or in an Agile Center of Excellence to, share these ideas and to help your organization become a learning organization. We all know the only constant in life is change. And so stop thinking of it as that big A, big T agile transformation, and look at yourself as an advocate for making your organization a learning organization, making it adaptable, make the people in your organization resilient, adaptable, and excited by these challenges so that you can face whatever comes next.
Well, thanks, Brooke, for taking time out of your schedule, because I know you're juggling a lot of things, working with a lot of folks to make things happen here in VA. Here in VA, we are using ones and zeros to help our nation's heroes. So follow us on Twitter or LinkedIn, and I'm going to say it again. Follow us on Twitter or LinkedIn. If you're from private industry and you're interested in working with us, send a note to itvmo@va.gov. That's itvmo at va.gov. That's our vendor management office, and IT vendor management office, and they can help get you pointed in the right place. Again, Brooke, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. And for those of you in our audience, thank you so much for sharing 30 minutes or so with us. Everyone, have a great VA day.